This recall alert, of course, comes as health officials are grappling with the ongoing Cyclospora outbreak. Jonathan Siri has the latest on this from the CDC.
The country's largest outbreak of a severe intestinal disease is expanding. Last week, Illinois, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Pennsylvania joined at least 5 other states in reporting cases. The CDC says more than 1,900 have now been linked to shredded iceberg lettuce from Taylor farms.
It appears that a lot of these cases are emanating from farms in central Mexico. Probably sewage got onto those growing fields in central Mexico and contaminated those crops.
But in a statement released Friday, Taylor Farms says, quote, according to the FDA, there are no confirmed positive sample results for product testing for Cyclospora. And Mexican health officials announced the parasite was not detected in the lettuce or water at one of the company's regional plants. The FDA says it is also investigating a separate outbreak of the disease linked to an unidentified food product.
Be careful where you get your groceries from, I suggest buying local. It's a more safe procedure rather than buying from produce that you don't know where your vegetables are coming from.
It's raising fears among some lawmakers that the U.S. could see a rise in foodborne illnesses. They point to federal budget cuts that could make it harder to detect and stop the spread.
When you gut the agencies that are responsible for ensuring the safety of our food, these are predictable consequences.
Those criticisms are invalid. We've had no cuts in our surveillance program.
The CDC says the total number of people sick could actually be higher because not all cases are reported. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox Chicago.